US President Donald J. Trump arrived in South Korea this week, concluding a strategic visit to Asia with a high-stakes face-to-face meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping in the city of Busan. The summit, held on October 30th, 2025, on the sidelines of the APEC gathering, marked the first in-person encounter between the two leaders since Trump's inauguration in January. President Trump opened his remarks aboard Air Force One by describing the encounter as an amazing meeting, underlining the significance he placed on the negotiations. He ranked the talks 12 out of 10, signaling a bullish tone about what he characterized as a fresh start in US-China trade relations. The mood of apparent thawing followed months of escalating tariffs, export controls, and mounting supply chain anxieties. At the center of the meeting were three interlinked issues: trade tariffs, rare earth mineral exports, and the illicit flow of fentanyl precursors. Trump announced that Washington would reduce average tariffs on Chinese goods from roughly 57% to approximately 47%, a 10-point rollover, in exchange for Beijing's commitment to resume US soybean purchases, maintain rare earth exports, and crack down on illicit fentanyl flows. He also emphasized China's pledge to keep rare earth shipments flowing to the United States, stating, "All the rare earths has been settled, and that's for the world." The Chinese side, for its part, confirmed that Beijing would pause newly announced export controls on certain rare earths and magnets for 1 year, buying time while the parties consider more structural arrangements. The tone from Xi Jinping was measured but pointed. He said that trade should be the ballast for keeping their relationship stable, emphasizing China's desire to avoid a cycle of retaliation. While he did not detail the concessions, China's Commerce Ministry issued a statement confirming that it would pause for 1 year the controls announced earlier this month. For Taiwan, the absence of public references in the joint remarks has drawn sharp attention. President Trump told reporters that Taiwan never even came up in his talks with President Xi, a remark likely to be received in Taipei with a mix of relief and anxiety. On one hand, the lack of raised tensions is a relief. On the other, there remains concern that the US-China rapprochement could be premised on transactional compromises. In the region, the sequence of events is being interpreted as an attempt by both capitals to reposition their diplomatic strategies. For Washington, this stop marks a pivot from unilateral tariff escalations toward managed détente. For Beijing, the outcome offers a chance to reposition itself not as a trade provocateur, but as a reliable partner amid waning growth and regional skepticism. Mr. Trump, speaking of longer-term plans, said he would travel to China in April and Xi would visit the United States thereafter, either in Washington or in Florida's Palm Beach, signaling an intensified bilateral engagement in the coming year. The tariff reduction, while narrowing in quantitative terms, a drop to approximately 47%, carries symbolic weight. It signals a retreat from the brink. In recent months, the US had threatened 100% tariffs on Chinese goods starting 1st of November as part of its pressure campaign. Chinese negotiators ahead of the summit agreed to delay newly announced export controls on rare earths, a critical concession given China's dominance in global processing and refining of those minerals.
Plan to sign a trade deal today?
Could be. I think we have a great understanding. We have a great relationship. We've always had a great relationship.
Will they start buying U.S. soybeans again? We discuss Taiwan, sir?
Which way? Thank you very much, everybody.
Hold tight.
On soybeans, the resumption of US exports to China gives relief to American farmers who had been cut out of the Chinese market following retaliatory measures. On rare earths, China made no outright rollback of earlier controls. Those announced in April still remain. But the 1-year pause buys both sides a breathing space and avoids immediate supply chain disruption. Analysts caution that the longevity of this pause remains a matter of trust and follow-through. On fentanyl, Trump repeatedly highlighted illicit drug flows, saying China would work very hard to stop the flow of fentanyl precursors, a major US health security issue. While no detailed implementation plan was revealed, the inclusion of this security dimension signals a broader trade security nexus in US-China negotiations. In Southeast Asia especially, China's messaging under Xi emphasized mutual benefit and growth together, contrasting with Washington's more transactional posture under Trump. With many Asian economies wary of China's economic slowdown, Xi used the platform of the summit to remind regional partners that Beijing remains a key economic heavyweight capable of delivering investment and engagement. For South Korea, the summit's host, the meeting in Busan underscores its growing role as a diplomatic hub amid US-China recalibrations. APEC 2025 thus becomes more than a forum. It is the backdrop for the emerging US-China reset. Several high-profile issues were either sidelined or quietly deferred. On TikTok, while earlier reports had speculated a deal could be signed on the app's future ownership, neither leader announced concrete progress on that front. On Taiwan, the subject did not appear in the public agenda or official statements, sparing immediate escalation, but also leaving ambiguity for Taipei's policymakers. On semiconductor access, though Trump raised China's need for more chips, some commentary referenced his introducing Xi to NVIDIA, no formal framework was released covering technology transfers or export controls. In the US, commentary ranged from relief at de-escalation to skepticism over the durability of the deal. A recent poll found that only 38% of Americans approve of the president's job so far, while many view his tariff approach as worsening how government works. In China, state media coverage emphasized domestic growth, stability, and an orderly global role for Beijing. Investors responded favorably. Chinese stocks lifted, the yuan strengthened, and global supply chain jitters temporarily eased. Observers argue that while the summit offers a meaningful pause in trade hostilities, it is best seen as a framework rather than a final settlement. The one-year pause on rare earth export controls, the tariff cut, and the enduring rhetorical goodwill all set the stage for a deeper negotiation, likely to touch on broader issues such as technology, supply chains, industrial policy, and the strategic rivalry underpinning US-China relations. President Trump made this explicit when he said, "We're going to work together on Ukraine," referring to talks with China over the war in Ukraine, though he added there were no details yet on a concrete cooperation framework. The Busan summit marks a tentative reset. Both sides emerged with face-saving headline outcomes. The US secured Chinese commitments on soybeans, rare earths, and fentanyl. China secured a tariff rollback and the promise of further visits. The biggest question, can this win become a durable détente, or will it unravel once both sides test the boundaries of their respective red lines? Governor-style pragmatism now replaces brinkmanship, at least for the moment. But given the deep structural competition in technology, trade and strategic influence between the world's two largest economies, the real work starts now.